Good day to everyone. We are now going to have a short reflection on the gospel message and also on the first reading of today's celebration, which is a Sunday celebration. Although we also know that from the date itself, we are also trying to commemorate Saint Francis of Assisi. In the first reading, which is from St. Paul's letter to the Galatians, chapter 1, verses 6 to 12, he is stunned because of the Galatians following another type of so-called good news. And I would like to call our attention to St. Paul's words that even if they themselves would preach another gospel, or even if it were an angel from heaven to speak of another gospel, the listeners and the readers of Paul's letters who are Christians should not heed that other type of gospel. It is something to note about, because we know that there would be many people who would be trying to give fake news, fake good news, fake gospels. Why? Because the evil spirit knows that sometimes it is hard to preach, especially the hard sayings, especially on topics regarding morals, regarding other issues which are simply difficult issues. And sometimes we human beings would like to listen only to the things that are easy to understand, or the things we want to understand. And if things are already difficult, we would not want anymore to listen. And sometimes the evil spirit takes advantage of this and offers us fake gospels. Why fake? Because they only soothe our feelings, but they do not tell us the truth. Love is important, but it is not only love which is important, it is truth. Truth in love. Truth and love. Yes, God is merciful, but also God is just. And both things are important. Not only mercy, not only justice. Because as St. Thomas says, mercy without justice is chaos, and justice without mercy is cruelty. In the Gospel for today, from St. Luke chapter 10 verses 25 to 37, a person asks Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" And after Jesus tells him, "This is what you should do. You should love the Lord your God and your neighbor as yourself." And yet, the person wants to justify himself. Who is then my neighbor? And Jesus goes on to tell of the famous parable of the Good Samaritan. It is a call for us to really show mercy to our neighbors, and yet we are also called to uphold the truth. Saint Augustine tells us that we should hate the sin and yet love the sinner. Sometimes we can get confused, and because somebody commits a sin, because he is a sinner, he should be loved together with his sin. No, we should hate the sin itself, and yet we should do everything that we can to love the sinner. Because nobody can boast in the presence of God that he or she has not sinned, that he or she does not need salvation from God. And the parable of the Good Samaritan tells us, "Who is my neighbor?" Sometimes you could be judgmental of other people, sometimes based on their external appearances, and sometimes you could also be judgmental of other people based on their past. Remember that a saint always has a past, and yet at the same time, every sinner has a future. So we must not be judgmental, and rather let us take care to be aware of the importance of other persons in our life. Not only persons, but all of creation. Because today is the day devoted to Saint Francis also. So we also remember the importance of taking care of creation. And of course, taking care of creation means being aware of the needs of the environment, to use recyclable materials, etc. But we should not forget that living things are important in the environment, foremost of which are people. Persons are gifts, persons are not objects. And so we have to pray also, especially for those who are unborn, those who are helpless, those who are needy, those who are judged by society, those people who are helpless. And we should also care for the environment, for everyone, everything that God has given us to take care of, because we are here to be stewards, to to take care of others, not to be lord of others. And that is the lesson that Jesus wants us to imbibe today. Thank you. God bless us all.